Hello everybody, this is Brian with Coaches Across Continents. We're going to get started in about 1 minute with the first virtual learning community. Okay, good morning or good afternoon or good evening, wherever you might be in the world. This is Brian Siskevitz with Coaches Across Continents, welcoming everybody to the first virtual learning community. And today we're going to be launching something that's sort of brand new for us here at Coaches Across Continents. And we're working towards education for a changing world. And part of that is how we can work with everybody in a global environment so that we can help our partnership with you with Coaches Across Continents. As I mentioned, I'm Brian Siskevitz, the Chief Executive Strategist with Coaches Across Continents.
I'm Adam Burgess, Sustainability Strategist, and I will be assisting Brian with this first ever virtual learning community call.
And as we get going, we also want to make sure that you guys understand some of the technology so that we can interact. So today, Tuesday for most everybody, it's actually still Monday in the United States. We're going to do a very short presentation. First, we're going to talk to you about what is the virtual learning community. This is a new idea for us and hopefully one that will grow throughout the year. Secondly, we're going to review different strategic resources that Coaches Across Continents has, both for individuals and for partner organizations around the world. Each year we seem to add a little bit more strategic resources to our capabilities, and we want to make sure that everyone understands so that they can utilize them fully. And then third, we'd like to try and develop everyone's pathway with CAC, and that means that each partnership can be unique.
Okay, so first of all, just some of the technical details. Initially, you've all got an invite to 2 different webinars. Every time we are doing a webinar each month, we will have 2 webinar options available. One will be, they'll be at different times to make it appropriate for different groups. As you may have seen, there may be an issue with the timing of them in that we will set a time and we will always set the time on GMT. So for example, this one was set at 4 AM GMT, which is UK time. It will then be your responsibility to check what time that should be wherever you are in the world. However, when you click on the link, because we are using a German organization, EduDip, in order to transmit these webinars, it automatically comes up in German time on EduDip. So once you click on the link, the invite to the webinar, you will need to go in, click on the I next to the time, and change the settings to your local time. That way, hopefully, when you keep on coming back to more and more webinars, it will be simple and it will come up correctly in your time. But like I say, they will always be sent over initially UK time, for example, 4 AM GMT.
So for you guys, congratulations. You guys have figured it out. I know that we have people on in Africa and Asia and in the Americas. So thank you very much. You guys have figured it out perfectly.
There might be some people who haven't. If at all we go in and out a little bit, that will just be sort of us working with the system. So don't worry about it if we lose you for a minute. So I'm just going to quickly go over some of the options for us as we learn the system and as you learn how to take advantage and make best use of the system. as you can, for instance, or chat, right-hand box. Currently, only CAC, only us as the moderators, can see when you ask a question, so it's not available for the full group. You can also, you can also, but we can click to see all of the participants available on the right-hand side of the screen. And we can also see, so that we can see a full list of the participants, and we can see if there is a hand signal which will be placed on by the participants, for example, when you want to ask a question, or when you have a specific topic in mind. As you can see on the bottom left, just as you are beginning to use the system, you can click on the bottom left button and you can go to the full screen, which means it will fill up your entire computer. On the bottom left-hand side of your screen, there are various options which you can click on. For example, you can click on the second from the left option to take a screenshot of at any point during the webinar. You can switch on and off your webcam using the second from the right. You can switch off full screen, or you can raise your hand. And you can raise your hand by clicking on the button, and there are 5 different options once you raise your hand. So there's hopefully we get more green thumbs up than red thumbs down, but we will see when you raise your hand and when you click on any of these options, and we will be able to take note. Right now, we think it's best if any questions that you have come towards the end of the webinar, at least initially, as we get used to the system. And also you can, finally on this last slide, involving the technical side of the webinar, you can also see that following the webinar, so maybe 2 or 3 days after each webinar is finished, we will post the webinar on EduDip and make the video of it available for you. So you can go back in and watch it again, or if you weren't able to make it and actually see the webinar as we were doing it, you can go in and see the replay of it, and hopefully it's almost as useful if you were to go in and watch it again. But that's it. It's a very, very simple system. Hopefully you'll be able to get used to it after the first couple of webinars, and from there we'll be able to move on to bigger and better things. Just quickly, Pedro, I see that you've just mentioned about not being able to see the public chat. Right now, none of the participants can see the public chat. Only we can see any messages that you post. We may open it up at some point in the future, but on this webinar, it will just be for us to see. But like I say, if you have any issues or questions, please raise them towards the end. That would be perfect.
So, again, welcome to the first session, the January session of our virtual learning community. You will hear us call it the VLC at times. And first of all, I want to explain what is the virtual learning community. And the idea that we have is that we will provide free monthly webinars. They will be hosted by CAC. They will always be free for everybody. And every month we will have a new topic. We will have a different area that we want to address with different groups that we think will help in sport for social impact. And for this first year, some of the future topics that we know we are going to engage in, we'll be having different months. We'll be working on the list that you can see on the screen. So we'll have different months that might focus on monitoring and evaluation. We'll do different things on business consulting and brand focus. We'll have different months that will focus on child protection policy design, as well as women's rights policy design. So you guys can read the whole thing. Also important with that, we want your feedback on items that you think are beneficial both to yourself and your organization, but for everybody. So this is a working list that we are happy to adjust. And in fact, I can tell you that next month in February, we're going to be doing things on Ask for Choice, which is one of our new initiatives as well as women's rights and policy sort of over the next month or two. But we certainly would love your guys' suggestions on the best way to help you guys. I'm also pausing a little bit as each new screen comes up for you, and hopefully everyone can see the screens that come up. So the virtual learning community at Coaches Across Continents, we want to help provide year-round organizational development and sport for social impact education. That is the goal of all of our partnerships, and we hope that this VLC will allow us to best use our resources and your strengths so that each partnership can have a unique pathway. As I already mentioned, we're going to have different topics every single month, and this will change from year to year as people decide what might be best suited. And as we get further along, there's going to be opportunities for other groups to present. There'll be opportunities for us to bring in experts outside of CAC so that we can continue to provide sort of the best educational platform possible. And then really our goal for this whole virtual learning community is to improve sport for development within our communities. We all are looking to use sport to impact children, to improve communities, to create self-directed learners, and create community responsibility. I've already mentioned, and different groups are at sort of different years in the CAC partnership. But the CAC partnership, we realize that every community is different. We work in 29 countries this past year. We had 89 different partners, and every single one has unique challenges and unique strengths. There are different social issues for partners in South America compared to North America or Africa, Asia, and Europe. And every group is different. Some groups are nationwide and some are within a small school. And therefore everyone has different goals. Because of this, we know that every single one of our partnerships with you needs to be unique. But that said, our framework for our partnerships is the same. And that is based on what we call our Hat Trick Initiative. And the Hat Trick Initiative is a 3-year pathway with each organization. And I'm going to get into sort of what the 3-year pathway is as a general framework. And then at the end, we'd like it if people can start to think about the resources that they know CAC has and your own strengths and what you'd like to improve so that we can better define each pathway and each partnership. So in the Hat Trick Initiative, there's 2 options. One is called Chance to Choice, and the other one is called Ask for Choice. And I'll get into each of those in the next couple screens, but it doesn't matter if you choose Chance to Choice or Ask for Choice. You have the full set of strategic resources from Coaches Across Continents. So things like our CIC program, which I'll get into, and all of our expertise and the virtual learning community is available to everybody at all times. And then together with our partnerships, we want to work to improve the delivery of sport for social impact. At the end of the day, that is our number one goal, is to make sure that sport is being used in a positive manner to have the impact that each community would like. Real quick, you guys are about to see a world premiere. We've just filmed a couple different videos in the past couple months, and this is a quick 1.5-minute video featuring Mr. Nick Gates, the founder, about our Hat Trick Initiative.
One of the unique things about Coaches Across Continents is our Hat Trick Initiative. We decided that a 3-year partnership was the type of partnership that we wanted to introduce to the implementing partners in the community, because it gave enough time for them to develop their own pathway.
Was a type of partnership
In year
that we
1 of
wanted
the
to introduce
partnership,
to the
we call
implementing
it
partners in the
Educate.
community,
It's where
because
we
it gave
introduce
enough
sport
time
to
for them to develop their own pathway.
In year 2,
In
we
year
call
1
it
of the
Adapt.
partnership,
It's
we
when
call it
communities
Educate.
take our
It's where we
resources and
introduce
start
sport as a
using
development
ways
tool.
that suit their
In year
social
2,
issues.
we call it Adapt.
In year 3,
It's
we
when
call it
communities
Create.
take our
This is the key
resources
year.
and start
This
to
is the
use
year
it in
when
ways
communities
that
totally
suit their
decide
social
what they want for
issues.
their future.
In year 3, we we call Create. This is a key year. This is a year where communities totally decide what they want for their future and develop the skills to design games in sport development that can influence their community. We call this taking on community responsibility. For the coaches and teachers in the community, we use what we call self-directed learning models, which is where the coaches and teachers identify their local issues and then choose a pathway to change those issues, question religion, tradition and culture in their community so that their future looks different. This creates locally owned sustainable programs.
Okay, hopefully everyone was able to see that video. If not, we will share the YouTube link with you, which just went live today. I know that some people were able to hear the volume, but hopefully everyone had a chance to be able to watch it. Again, as we learn this new system, we'll learn what we're capable of around the world. So I mentioned with Hat Trick Initiative, there's either Ask for Choice or Chance to Choice. And next month, we are going to get in a lot deeper with Ask for Choice. But Ask for Choice is our new female empowerment curriculum that we've done as our commitment to action with the Clinton Global Initiative. Some of you may have seen a blog that we wrote and releasing everything. And the goal of Ask for Choice is bringing gender policies to life. And so it's a brand new curriculum, but it's also looking to engage local communities, local governments, and even national governments to either strengthen or implement gender policies both in sports and through sport. And ASK, A-S-K, stands for Attitudes, Skills, and Knowledge. So throughout this partnership, all of the games focus on attitudes, skills, and knowledge for choice. And like I said, we'll get into that a lot more next month. The other option, and this is the one that we've been working off of for the last 6 years, is our Chance to Choice model. And in Chance to Choice, there are 6 primary modules that we use, and that's conflict prevention, female empowerment, health and wellness, child rights, life skills, and fun. And furaha is a Swahili word for fun, so hopefully everyone has learned a little bit today. In Chance to Choice, again, you've heard most of the CAC coaches say, solve your problem. And we look to create problem solvers and self-directed learners. And these are people who are able to solve problems specific to your community. And at the end of the day, people can then choose what their future is, both on an individual level and on a community level. With Chance to Choice, we also now, hopefully people will be able to see this. We're going to show, this is about a 2-minute video on our Chance to Choice. And again, this is another world premiere.
Sport is a powerful tool for social development. Coaches across continents award-winning Hat Trick Initiative
is a powerful tool for social development. Coaches across continents award-winning Hat Trick Initiative empowers community partners by providing year-round organizational development and support for social impact education. Our Chance to Choice methodology uses a unique self-directed learning model that educates individuals to identify, address, and solve problems specific to their own communities. They move from the chance and conformity of an unquestioned lifestyle to the recognition of potential personal and community choices.
In the second year, we were able to build upon the relationship that we created in the first year and take it to the next level. The progress that we've seen after working with you is amazing.
This empowers them to question harmful traditional, cultural, and religious practices so they can responsibly choose their own futures and create sustainable change. Partners develop pathways for their communities using our curriculum modules for child rights, female empowerment, health and wellness, conflict prevention, life skills, and fun.
Actually, what is fantastic is your curriculum. You come prepared, you come with fun games, you come with strong messages, with passionate coaches, and you exchange ideas between them.
Coaches across continents further build capacity through year-round access to strategic resources such as our virtual learning community and online education programs. Chance to Choice creates partnership growth and sustainable community impact. We are coaches across continents, and we design, develop, and implement Chance to Choice.
Okay, so that was our Chance to Choice video, which was just released today. Hopefully people were able to watch that. We do know that one or two people did receive an echo or double audio. We're not sure why that happened, but we're going to send out the YouTube link so you can watch that at your own time as well, which helps to explain the Chance to Choice. The second big part of this first VLC and this first webinar is to make sure that everyone understands the different strategic resources. And again, through any partnership, these are the things that are available for groups to utilize so that we can help with organizational development and support for social impact education. The first one, which most everyone knows about, is our on-field training. And this is where coaches across continents comes to your community, typically for 1 to 2 weeks, and we're able to work with 50 or so coaches with everyone. Second one is now brand new this year, the virtual learning community. We're going to talk a little bit about the Community Impact Coach program, the online education program, and those two are going to be important because we have application deadlines coming up in the next 2 to 3 weeks for both of those. And then the last thing is we're very flexible. We can help with a lot of things if people just ask and say, hey, can you help us with this? So first, our on-field training. The on-field training, as I mentioned, is 1, sometimes 2 weeks in your community where we have a team of CAC coaches, and the games that we teach are all hopefully addressing what are the local social needs. And again, we realize that every community is different, and some communities might be looking to focus on conflict prevention, while others might be focusing on health and wellness. We look to try and work with 50 or more coaches within the local community, and then networking while we're in your community. And that might mean local business contacts, it could be meeting local politicians, and then we provide a year-round curriculum for the coaches to follow throughout the next 365 days. The second strategic resource is what we're doing right now. And again, this is an introductory one, but this is our virtual learning community. And this will help us work with you on a monthly basis on topics that will be important to you. As we grow, we are going to accept and include more people. Right now, we've got hopefully at least 1 or 2 people from every organization, as well as some past individuals that have worked as CICs with coaches across continents. I'll get into the CIC and OEP program in the next couple of slides. But the virtual learning community, our goal is that everybody is welcome. Not just you and your local organizations, but you'll be able to invite other people within your community to join when it's appropriate, and that we'll be able to do this around the world. And that would include conflict zones. We know that we will always host the webinar at 2 different times during the day, as Adam said. That way people can get on at either time that works best for them. We'll make sure that we do each webinar about 12 hours apart. In fact, we're doing the same webinar 11 hours from now. And then if there's any mess-ups or any problems, we're videotaping this webinar. And so either this one or the one that we do in 11 hours, this webinar will be available on EduDip. So at a later time, you can log in and have your organization watch it, or you can come back and revisit what you've learned. The next 2 programs I'm going to talk about as strategic resources. Both have deadlines that are coming up in the near future. The first is our Community Impact Coach program. Many of you know about our CIC program, and this is where we allow and facilitate local community coaches to travel with us to other CAC communities. Sometimes this is domestically. We might bring somebody to an organization 3 or 4 hours down the road, and other times we have people travel internationally. I know in the past we've brought coaches from Tanzania to Ghana, from South Africa to Nigeria, and quite a few international trips, and this is something that coaches across continents will facilitate. The purpose of the CIC program is to have local coaches teach each other and also learn from each other best practices, and create what we think is a real network between all of our community partners. As was brought up earlier, Pedro, thank you for this. We hope to open up this webinar so that everyone can chat with each other and teach each other as well. So it will rely less on me speaking and Adam speaking and other people, and everyone will be able to teach each other. And in terms of the CIC program, we have an application on our website that you would need to complete, or whoever you think is the best candidate should complete, so we can review. And it's our goal to try and have people from every community participate in the next 1 to 2 years in this program. Like I said, we have an application available on our website. The second program that's key in terms of applications coming up is what's called our online education program. Last year was the first year that we did this, and it's a very intensive curriculum development course. And we will be accepting letters of interest until February 15th. Marcus on our team heads up the online education program, and he will be sending out by email to everybody by the end of this week what would be needed if somebody were interested. This is a 9-month course. As I mentioned, this is very, very intensive, and we're going to cap this course at 25 participants this next year. And it is a lot of time. It's approximately 5 to 10 hours per week, and the participants will be logged into a curriculum development program called Sports Session Planner. And together with Marcus, you will start to learn the system and then be able to create and implement your own games on Sports Session Planner. I think everyone might recognize Sports Session Planner. This is the program that we use in our games packets that you see the screenshots of on our games packet. So this is something for if you have someone in your organization, either yourself or someone else, that has some computer skills and computer access and has a desire to be able to learn a new technology, but also be able to start to develop curriculum specific to your community. We'll be looking to accept people in the next 2 to 3 weeks, and then that course will run from March 1st to December 1st. And all told, that's about 160 hours total. Last year we had coaches from about 10 different countries participate, and it was a fantastic, fantastic first year, and we're looking to expand on that. The last thing we're going to talk about is other opportunities. As I mentioned, CAC partnerships are all unique. So we have other opportunities that we're willing to explore with any partner. These could be joint funding opportunities. If you hear of an opportunity to look at either a corporate or a foundation, if there's grants. Secondly, we've had a tremendous number of groups that have looked to apply for awards or apply to get into various networks, and we'd be happy to provide recommendations. We've done speeches and presentations both in communities and also at various events like Street Football World events or One More Play Project events. And then if you need any advice on specific issues, one of the things that we understand at Coaches Across Continents is we've been able to learn from all of you, and we've been able to learn in each community, and maybe we've heard of something that can help you. If you have a problem or an issue, we can connect you with a different community within our network so that you can start to work with somebody that's already been through that process. So we have lots of different ways to help each partner organization, and these are what we call our strategic resources. And it's our goal during this first VLC that everyone is aware of all these different opportunities and options. And this is the final part that we want to talk about today for the next sort of 3 or 4 minutes. What we want to do now is have everyone start to think about how you can design, develop, and implement your partnership with Coaches Across Continents. Some of you might not have ever heard of some of these resources that we have. And what we want to do is, as we communicate with you individually over the next month or two, is to be able to utilize the resources that best fit your community. So if there's something you say, hey, this is what's really going to help, we want to try and implement it in our partnership. The one thing we don't want is that we come to a community and we spend a great week there, and then there's nothing happening for the next 51 weeks. We very much see this as a year-round partnership, and it does take sort of two people and two groups to be able to communicate back and forth. So our goal on this first VLC was to show you everything about Coaches Across Continents, and then as we work together, and for some groups, we've been working with them for 2 or 3 years. For other groups, this might be your first year with Coaches Across Continents, but we want to be able to build our pathway together. And in doing that, we're hoping that our partnership will maximize what can be achieved over our 3-year partnership. And so that's where I'm going to leave this for right now in terms of my talking. And hopefully everyone was able to hear, but we also want to see it's your turn to talk. We do talk about everyone being able to find their voice, but if anyone has any questions, we'd like you to sort of type them in now, and we will answer as many as we possibly can.
Remember, when you ask a question, only we can see it, so the rest of the group won't be able to see any questions that you ask. But yeah, as Brian says, please, anything that you have, that you're interested in, or you sort of want to say after this first webinar, please let us know. I'll give you a minute or two to think.
So one thing that came up after this webinar, I'm going to send out an email to everybody, and it will go out after after the webinar in another 11 hours, and we will send you the links for the 2 YouTube videos as well as the application for the CIC. Later in the week, Marcus will be sending, and Marcus is actually online as well, listening at the moment. Marcus will be sending out any details for the online education program. So if you have anyone that you think might be interested, Marcus will put together an email about explaining that a little bit more and sort of the intensiveness of it, but also looking to accept people. And this is something that we're looking to broaden this year. Yep. Okay. There's also a question. I know that one of the things we brought up is that there's different opportunities with every group, and the question has come in about different funding opportunities. And we see this really as a two-way street. So with funding opportunities, we have Adam and Sarah, as well as myself and Nick, that are constantly looking for different options. And if something comes across our radar, we certainly try and think of the partners that fit the various criteria, and we'll bring it to people's attention. Likewise, we know that a lot of you might learn, and Adam's going to talk about this in a moment, a lot of you might learn about opportunities that we didn't know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's a really good question, and I think that it's something that that we'd hope to sort of have that conversation with as many of our partners as possible. It won't be something where we will say this is a great funding opportunity and then post it on our website. It's more likely to be something that we find and decide and think who would be a great partner for this, and then we'll begin to have that conversation with the group. And as Brian says, similarly, if you as a partner see something that you think would be a perfect fit for Coaches Across Continents and for yourselves, then we're definitely open to having that conversation. And we've had experience sort of working on funding applications, working on corporate partnerships, so we're more than willing to sort of work with any partner on that.
Okay, we've had about 3 or 4 questions come in, so that's fantastic. First, if you have other people that are interested in the virtual learning community, please send myself or Adam an email with the name and their email, and we'll add it to our master list so that they can get the invitation for the next one and from everyone here on out. So if you know other people like I said, we want to expand this VLC. This is the first one, so we've kept it relatively small. We've got about 200 different people or organizations on it. But as we grow, we hope to grow this quite a bit in the next 2 or 3 months. So if you know people that are interested, we'd be happy to have them. Daniel, I've got a quick answer for Daniel. We have not posted the exact times yet for each month's webinar. We're going to keep it a little bit flexible, but we're going to let everyone know approximately 1 week in advance. The next one will be in February. Will be in mid-February. We have to base it a little bit on our staff availability, but in February we're going to be going over Ask for Choice, as well as preparations for International Women's Day, which is on March the 8th. So as soon as we have set the schedule, we will forward it to you guys, but we're not as organized as we'd like to be and have the exact dates down yet for every single month. In terms of this is answering for Elvis, who I think is in the DRC right now. So similarities between Chance to Choice and Ask for Choice and the differences. Next month, we're going to get into a lot more about Ask for Choice. Chance to Choice is something that we use with every single partner, and then this year we've started Ask for Choice. The big difference in Ask for Choice is going to come at the sort of the deeper commitments for a few of the programs that we want to try to address local government policy in the second and third year, and that's going to mean interacting with different government officials. We're going to be doing a lot of research, but we want to try and bring gender policies to life. So that's either enforcing some policies that may exist or actually writing government policy and having that adopted. So there will be a little bit more intensiveness at some levels of Ask for Choice. Answering, I think we've got a couple questions, at least 2 different questions on CIC applications. We have received, I know about, we have received a couple people that have already asked questions about it. So we've got about 80 different people that have looked into and applied for the CIC program. And the criteria for the CIC program is we want the best local coaches who are committed to sport for development. And so we want coaches that have gone through at least 1 year of working with CAC within your community. So we have already been to that community and we know that this coach is doing it. And then secondly, we'd like to know that this coach, hopefully this CIC, is somebody who is implementing what they have learned on a weekly basis. And this is going to be someone that we're going to be able to trust to be able to educate other coaches around the world, which is a pretty big responsibility. It's a lot of fun to be able to travel to other communities, but it's also a big responsibility. So we want the people that are most committed to sport for development and utilizing sport for development. So I think that is the biggest criteria on the CIC application, is showing that you're using what you have learned on a weekly basis within your own community. And I think that answers a lot of the questions that have just come in. We had about half dozen or 7 or 8 questions there. So if anyone else has further questions, you should probably type them in now. And we'll wait sort of 10 or 15 seconds there.
Of course, like we've said over and over, this video will be available for you to watch in the next couple of days, and as it will be the same with all the webinars. But just because you don't have the opportunity to ask questions now, you have our email addresses, you're able to contact us. So please feel free to ask us any questions about this webinar in the future if you're looking back on it and saying, oh, I wish I'd asked that then. Absolutely get in touch with us and ask us more questions, and we can help out as much as possible.
Yep. So on behalf of myself and Adam here, and as well as everyone at Coaches Across Continents, we want to say thank you very much. You guys have been a part of the first ever virtual learning community, and again, this was sort of an introductory of setting the stage, and we are extremely excited. We are extremely excited about the possibilities this monthly webinar can provide. So thank you guys for that. A couple last questions have come in, so I'll answer those real quick. So in terms of the CIC program, sometimes it's for 1 or 2 week, 1 week. Sometimes it could be for 2 or 3 weeks, and that's done on a case-by-case basis. Sometimes based on individual schedules and travel distances. Once you've been accepted, then we work out the scheduling. And in terms of Ask for Choice, like I said, we're going to be doing that in the next month a little bit deeper. But if there's been at least 2 different groups on 2 different continents now that have just emailed saying they're very interested in it. So I will follow up with each of you individually, and we'll see if this is something that we can start and fit in this year in terms of Ask for Choice as we explain it a bit further. So on behalf of myself and coaches across continents, thank you very much, and this will be available online in about 2 or 3 days. If anyone's awake in 11 hours and wants to listen to this again, we're going to do the same webinar again,
You're
same
going to have
information.
all the answers.
And you'll have all the answers. So thank you very much, and have a good evening, a good morning, or a good afternoon, wherever you are. Thank you.
Thanks.